Hey everybody, once again it's I Shane, and I'm here to give you another Digimon Adventure 2020 episode review and recap. Today's episode is episode 46, The Sword of Hope. So, so as always, please remember to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave a comment down below. I really do want to hear from you guys. I love hearing from my audience. So, remember last week? Last week we had Garurumon finally turned into Metal Garurumon. And no warp evolution. I almost forgot to put that in the last one. Some people who have talked to me said they felt like that evolution was very valid. Let's see what you think of what's going to happen in this. And it's very interesting that we get flashes, like usually the flashbacks that pertain to the characters are very on point. This one showed Pedaldramon, and I should have paid attention to that. And now that I'm thinking about it, I know why it shows Pedaldramon. Show Pedaldramon with Hikari, but this is going to focus on Takeru and Angemon. And so Kodomon's going up a rocky cliff path, and everyone's on the inside. It's very bumpy. They're making know that Joe's getting car sick, or she said Kodomon sick. It's suggested that he steps out and gets some fresh air. He steps out and he says, "Man, he says it's a nice moon out, but it's green." And then he sees a giant eyeball on this moon, and he's freaking out. And meanwhile, back at one of the crystallized cores of Milleniummon, we have the Vademon cult, and they are saying Seraphimon number 6 uh, commence with the fourth data collection mode. And of course, they speak through their minds with their eyes all blah blah blah. Because the Seraphimon, I believe, the giant eye is telling them that they're getting close to Faga. They got to stop them at all costs. So they're all stops. Some people still on top of Kodoma. We have Yamato, Koshiro, and Taichi with his telescope. They're all looking around for what Joe saw. And Joe says, "Well, I think I saw it." There's some doubt. But immediately after this doubt, a humongous, remember guys, there's big, there's giant, there's massive, there's humongous. A humongous eyeball comes from the side of the cliff and is staring at them all. Using a eye tractor beam, it's pulling them in. And the ones it pulls in are the first three I mentioned, along with their partner Digimon, as well as Takeru and Patamon. And as it's about to pull Kodomon in, Kodomon spins his tail like a propeller and gets out of the tractor beam, and they're running. Now, at first, I only thought that it was Hikari who was on top of Kodomon that didn't get captured because she called out for Taichi. It's not just her; it's her, Sora, Mimi, Joe, and their respective digital partners. So they all make it out, but inside the others fall down, and there's these green rocks. Even there's like some building like structures that have green rocks on top of them, and they're just kind of checking on one another, seeing if they're all okay. Meanwhile, let me make sure. Do I have the moment? No, I don't have the moment yet. Yes, I do. So we get our first name drop of this Digimon. We got it earlier. It's Sephirothmon, or what do you call it? Yeah, Sephirothmon, literally. Sephiroth. So if you remember this guy, I even have the digital page pulled up. This guy is from Digimon Frontier. He is the Steel Spirit, Beast Spirit of Steel. It was the form of Mercurymon, who was the human spirit of steel. This thing had taken the holy data of Seraphimon. Using that, he was able to turn into a dark Seraphimon. But this thing, one of the most fun designs. I like it so much. In English, they call him Sakakumon, which makes no sense. I guess they didn't want to call him Sephirothmon, not just because of Sephiroth from Final Fantasy, but because these 10 spears are based on the Kabbalah from I hate to say Jewish mythology, but from the Jewish religion, the Jewish faith, the Kabbalah. Look into it, read it up. 5 light, 5 dark, deals with the different angels and devils like Metatron, Azazel, Raphael. I only know this because of I know this deeply because one, I like to read stuff like this, and two, there is a manga made by Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto. His twin brother also made something called 666 Satan, also known in English as Opart's Hunter. You can judge which name you like better. Of course, they're going to change it over here, but based on the Kabbalah, this thing has like it can split all these ball forms up. Of course, the mouth is the real form. It has a core. It can turn to a snake form, snake-ish form. It also showed up in Digimon. Was it Digimon Cross Wars? As like it was the owner of a carnival land while also serving as an attraction. It also served in Lilithmon's army. So this is I should have paid attention when I saw Pedaldramon. We get another frontier. What's it looking for? Homage. I'm loving this Digimon Adventure 2020 reboot more and more, especially because I like Frontier. A lot of people don't, but I love Frontier. So you have Tailmon telling everyone outside about this Digimon, saying that uh, it goes around gathering up data, and as it's going around gathering up data, it's actually chasing them down on the outside. They're literally running from it. Tells them, Tailmon is trying to let them know that on the inside, the others should be okay. But see, the way that Sephirothmon eats, it takes the past data of those Digimon, makes them fight over and over again until they can't fight anymore, and that's essentially how it eats. We get some more data on him earlier, saying that because I'm skipping ahead of my notes, but saying basically this Digimon is trying to make the best, greatest Digimon. It takes all the data from strong Digimon, and it's going across the continent that Faga is in. All the data is eventually gathered to Faga, and it's going to fuse and make something. What's it going to make? Who knows? I skipped a bit ahead, but it makes sense to tell you all this now. So, as the others are kind of just making sure they're okay, by the others I mean Taichi, Yamato, Koshiro, Takeru, and the respective partners, try to make sure that they're okay, but Agumon's shadow appears on one of these crystals, and suddenly the shadow turns into Sneemon and Colamon, that's what they call them, but it's Coelacanthemon. And it's just the shadows of them. Suddenly, these dark, shadowy forms of these Digimon, all pixelated, appear. Agumon can take down Sneemon because they've gotten training, and Gabumon gives them some assistance with Colamon. Well, suddenly, with Gabumon Shadow and then Tentomon Shadow, we're getting all these various Digimon that they have fought. We get Dokugumon, we get Cordramon, we get Tankdramon, because that's the first time we saw Gabumon with Yamato with the rest of the group. They had to fight Tankdramon, Dokugumon, Cordramon, Tailmon, that was from Tentomon and Koshiro's adventure out in the little cyberspace land. Everyone does their evolutions to champions, so we got Kabuterimon, Greymon, Garurumon. Nothing too fancy, just spears into their bigger forms. And they're taking these things out, but they're coming one after another. Also, Patamon turns into Angemon. Hey! So, excuse me, they're attacking these hordes, and one of the things I had to note was that Kabuterimon gets a Kabuki string right before he attacks, so he goes dong dong, which is basically how he speaks. Especially with his stance, is very Kabuki warrior esque or Kabuki actor esque. So, as soon as, and this is when things are getting serious now, as soon as they go from the one of the shadows made is Ogremon. Greymon beats the Ogremon. Taichi's visually shaking because they're thinking they're friends, but suddenly that turns into Metal Tyrannomon. Now we got to go to our ultimate forms. We get small sequences for Metal Greymon and Weregarurumon, especially when they get to Scorpiomon. When we get to not Grand Quagmon, Okuwagamon, Kabuterimon going to Altair Kabuterimon / Mega Kabuterimon Red. It wasn't really a sequence, it's just like Flash, and it became, he came out, and they're dealing with these Digimons that are milestone Digimon for them fairly easily, actually. So, I already told you about what Sephirothmon does. It's forcing them to fight until they tire out. Even Koshiro is smart enough that he was able to tell them once they got there that they're in a separate space inside their giant eye, and the data of all the Digimon that their Digimon had fought is being copied. So they're not really their fighting is not really Digimon, but it's something. And I'm done with you. So, and we did when we were talking about the gathering of the Digimon, we got a nice little yellow silhouette of all the Digimon some of the Digimon that they fought, like Fangmon. That's actually one that stood out to me because Fangmon is actually pretty interesting design, in my opinion, with a long snout. But I digress. I digress until I get to this part. So, after they beat these Digimon, now they have to deal with Orochimon again. And this thing is just as strong. Like it's doing mouth beams that's making Metal Greymon, uh, Alter Kabuterimon, and Sagittarius mode Rigorumon because he has to transform in order to keep up and deal with all the things around them. They're getting blown back. Angemon keeps Takeru safe, but suddenly his reflection is on one of these stones that made the shadows. Not his shadow, but his reflection. And his reflection turns into Debemon. And unlike all the other, shadowy, pixelated things, it smiles. So he comes right up this green rock and he's speaking slowly. Other shadows don't speak. This one is speaking. And he's saying, hello to his dear friend very slowly. And he was saying that, he has a curse on him. And Angemon's like, what do you mean a curse? And he says the curse is named the Chosen Ones. And so he's swiping with his purple blades. Angemon's fighting him, telling him that he needs to elaborate. What the heck are you talking about? And he was saying that with his holy Digimon power and with how strong he is, he could actually take over the world if he wanted to. But it's unfortunate that his existence of evolution and gaining more power is tied to the beings known as humans. And he says, wouldn't you call that a curse? Of course, Angemon goes, the chosen ones nor Takeru are curses, and they're having a fight. And I'm gonna have to cut myself off and speak quickly. The animation for this fight was really, really good. Like, if you wanted Angemon to fight Devimon more when they first met him, this kind of fills this in for you. This was really, really, really good. So, as they're fighting, we have several Angemon, the middle Mamemon, the big Mamemon, the regular Mamemon. We have all of these clones just coming at the guys, and they're doing their best to keep these things off. Megadramon, Kawagamon, Metal Life Kawagamon. I have quotes here with saying, there's no end to them. They just keep coming. We even get things like Raremon, and now we're crossing over to Mega Digimon because as soon as Sagittarius mode where Garurumon kills a Digimon Shadow, I think it's Volcano Dramon, the big Mega Digimon that the big ultimate level, sorry, Digimon that Metal Greymon had to handle by becoming pseudo War Greymon. It's Yamato's trying to call Takeru, it's not going through. Meanwhile, on the outside, the children, they have to stop running because while they were running, discussing what Seraphimon was, its giant eye caught them. All of the children's Digimon are at their ultimate levels, firing their attacks at all different angles. This thing fires Metal Greymon's not Giga Blaster, Giga Storm at them, nullifying their attacks. And at this point, they're like, we recognize that attack. He's already learned, Angel was saying, he's already learning their techniques. This thing then spins and does Kaiser Nail, which is knocking them all back. And Zudamon is questioning whether they should even go all out because they don't know if it's going to hurt the people on the inside. Meanwhile, I love that we're going with a lot of back and forth in this. Meanwhile, back on the inside, we're getting more of Angemon versus Debemon. And Takeru is wondering why is Debemon so fixated on Angemon. And Debemon gets some really good hits and knocks Angemon down. And when Takeru calls out to him, he says, "Don't worry, I won't lose. I can't lose. I can't lose if there's a battle between me and myself." And it's like, what? And Angemon says the more he had fought with Angemon, the more he fights with him now, he remembered that he was in a deep dark abyss after the end of the ancient wars. And we see that same picture of Angemon in the abyss and his angel feathers all around. These angel feathers coalesce into dark feathers and become Debemon. Debemon is the shadow self of Angemon. Now I'm going to tell you, I did not guess this. I had actually thought that Debemon would have been a former holy Digimon that had got corrupted by the darkness during the war, and this is just as equally as good in my opinion. This is literally what he means by old friend because hello darkness, my old friend. Literally, glad to see him again. And Devimon's trying to coax him to join the darkness. He's saying that, and Angemon says that he's a shadow. He was born from weakness. Feeling powerlessness after being defeated by the dark side, the darkness. And he's saying, that's actually Devimon's weakness. Your weakness, you being born from my weakness. Your weakness is wanting more and more power. And you were taken over by, you were beaten. We saw that he was beaten by War Greymon silhouette form. And what Devimon says is, well, as long as you live, I'm gonna live. And he says, your rising power gave me a body. And this is actually very reminiscent of Devil May Cry. This reminds me a lot of Virgil. Spoilers, we haven't played Devil May Cry 5, where he literally has, well, we see 3 different forms of him. Just incredible layers of storytelling in this, for Digimon's standpoint, mind you. So Angemon's dodging his attacks, getting ready for Heaven's Knuckle, not a beam version. He runs up on him, hits him so hard. We don't even get to see Devimon explode into pixels. Like digital blood, the pixels just splatter past Angemon. But behind Angemon, there's another Devimon, another Devimon. Suddenly, all these shadow Devimons, and then one giant. I can't even say this is past humongous. This is like a ginormous being of Devimon behind all of these things, while all of them saying, "I'm indestructible. I'm indestructible." This thing, the guy's so big, it's as if if you take my finger, this is Angemon and all the Devimons. He's just here, and they all, before they all attack, Angemon does say, he's a holy Digimon. He'll be the world's hope along with Takeru. After they form, they all do their darkness slash attacks, hitting him at all angles. We're seeing light pixels just come off of him, and they literally just jump him and start gang stomping him in the air. And I tried to write down most of what David Mom was saying because I was paying attention to this, but man, he was saying that the darkness will never fade away. He should just join with him. Once Angemon falls to the ground, he's being covered by shadow, and it's making him look like Debimon. His wings, all 6 of his wings are broken in half. He's reaching for Takeru, who's isn't seems to be in awe and concern, but isn't moving, and he has to physically hold down his own hand. And Devimon's saying, with your own hand, take out the curse of the chosen ones. He's saying, your hope will become despair. The holy Digimon is going to be reborn in darkness. And the darkness is slowly creeping over him. Like, literally, it's creeping all over him. It starts to form a Neo Devimon head. Like, the horn comes out, the 6 eyes come down. The arm is reaching out for Takeru, getting closer and closer. And this scene is actually pretty. It's more or less horrifying by Digimon standards. I'm not talking about the movies, just like seeing this guy being transformed against his will and fighting, literally fighting his inner demons while morphing and mutating. And as as this Devimon hand is reaching for Takeru, Devimon's asking, you know, actually before that, the reason why he was being overtaken more was because the massive, humongous, ginormous Devimon fired purple lasers from his fingers, which that kind of looks silly, but that's what led to the Devimonification of him. And he asks, why isn't Takeru run, and why isn't he in fear? And he says, Angelmon's not going to lose to someone like you. I trust him. I have faith in him. And with these words, we get a nice little a strum of a harps. You hear harp music in the back. Angemon says, "You know what? And I'm trusting you." Where we get the little symbol of hope on him. The light is washing away the darkness, and you know, me, meanwhile, all this we get the rainbow light around Angemon, which showed up when he first appeared. It's actually shown up in every instance of Angemon in the anime. And he's saying as long as he's with Takeru, he can fly. He has his wings back. He's facing the ginormous Devimon boss monster, and he's saying that he's not gonna let his shadow rule over him, and not gonna let his shadow waver his hope. Just raising his hand with the light just shatters this giant shadow being, and you can see it swirling around him, and he's basically absorbing it into his own being. Takeru's device is spinning rapidly. It's the sign of evolution. We get a nice little song in there. It's a different theme than everybody else's, obviously, because he's a holy Digimon. But he gets his super evolution into his ultimate form. Angemon becomes holy Angemon. I'm going to show you that picture right now. Now, in Japanese, we know him as Holy Angemon. In English, in the Western states, he is known as Magna Angemon, which I'm going to give you a little. Okay, we'll get the best picture, the one from Try, which, even if you people don't like Try, the animation was really good. This is actually a priest form. This showed up in the 01 Digimon manga. According to Holy Angemon's data, he has two forms. The form that we normally see him in, this thing with the giant bracer, is his battle form, but he also has a priest form. He serves as the personal spokesman for the essence of light. He's there to preserve order of the digital world, even when the digital world is shrouded in the essence of darkness. I really wish I could get you a better picture of this thing. This one is as good as it's gonna get, but yeah. And the sequence for it is it's kind of lame. Like his six wings wrap around him. You see the bracer come out on the left arm, and he gets the feet, and the giant Pope hat with his blonde hair and the digital straps. It's it's kind of bad that everyone else's ultimate forms, their evolution is pale in comparison again to Taichi and Yamato's. That's kind of just like the original. It's okay. It's fine, but yeah, meh, it's meh. So suddenly, Takeru's smiling. He's happy. His guy broke free of the darkness, evolved on top of that. His other hand, the free hand, has a little buckler that serves as a blade. If you remember the original Digimon Adventure, Digimon Season 1, with Angemon. He usually uses that to make, it's called Gate of Destiny in English. I believe it's called Heaven's Gate in Japanese. This beam thing, inside this giant dimension, within the giant eyeball, cuts straight through. And as it cuts straight through, all of the pixelated Shadowmons, they scatter and dissipate. We get the surprised look on Metal Greymon's face. On the outside, Angelmon and all the others see that the humongous eyeball is being cut in half both ways. There's four pieces of this thing fall to the ground, and in a green aura of light, the others appear. Of course, and Holy Angemon's in the air with Takeru, while those on the ground. They're kind of surprised about what happened, but they're happy to be back. The others are coming to greet them. But above them, beyond the clouds, in the sky, is the main mouth of Sephirothmon. With the massive mouth I showed you earlier, it's absorbing that data. It spawns another eye, and they go off. The Vadimon cult get this data saying severe data loss. Beware of the chosen ones. They are a vital threat. Of course, the others are cults, so they go on saying beware over and over again. Meanwhile, in the sky, meanwhile, chosen children, they're all in awe of Holy Angemon. They're happy that, their guy got his evolution. And Holy Angemon's looking at that buckler left arm, hearing Devimon, his shadow self, basically say, your hope is indestructible like me, right? So, we're going to see how much truth is in that and see how long that lasts. Angemon says, trust me, you know, uh, he says something about the path. He says the path he's on with Takeru will show him the light, and hope will reign over everyone. And he promises to show him that old friend. And we get Devimon as he's looking at him. We get the Devimon laugh. Takeru can hear this as well, which is kind of freaky, but yeah. Um, Holy Angemon thanks Takeru for not giving up on him. Takeru thanks him for being there to save him. Sun is setting. This is the end of our episode. Our encyclopedia today is, of course, on Holy Angemon, which the only thing we got was just Koshiro saying that he goes from 6 wings to 8. He's getting closer and closer to a what does he become? He doesn't become Sephirothmon. He becomes Seraphimon, which is a seraphim. I really don't have enough time to go through the different types of angels, especially within the Book of the Bible, Book of the Torah, XYZ mythologies and things like that. The gradual increase is the increase of wings, because you'll see what Holy Angemon is. Those 2 extra wings aren't there to keep him up. They're there to kind of shield across him. Yeah. But then Koshiro also says, can you count how many wings Tentomon has? Pretty sure Tentomon has 4 wings because he's a bug and he has a little shell. Next episode is gonna be Digimon Outlaws, and Tai is gonna be working with the Scarecrowmon to stop them. Let's see if we need some more Taichi development or what comes of this. But yeah, guys, that's our episode. I'm gonna give this, just off the cuff, a 5 out of 5. Not only did we wrapped up a mystery that I don't think a lot of people were really thinking about, like where did Devimon come from? A lot of times we don't think about where these evil Digimon come from. They just kind of they're here, but he is literally the shadow self of Angemon, which very different take, not how I would have done it, but I still appreciate how it was done. Uh, explains why he was really strong, because he's born from that internal hunger for more power. Again, very Virgil from DMC esque, and I like it. The animation at times was it seemed like it was kind of off, but I think it was like that to keep you in awe. All in all, really great fight between Angemon and Devimon. We get to see not just Holy Angemon. We get to see Seraphimon. That also gave this extra point for me because I love Frontier. I like most of the Digimon that were in that show that were shown. For story, for progression, 5 out of 5. Still would like to know, how does Takeru and Hikari have these deep bonds with their partners that the others had to foster more or less by going through trials. Even Taichi and Yamato, when they were the first 2 original chosen ones, they had to fight with them for their lives to start that bond. So I'm just kind of wondering how that began. They'll probably touch on that sooner or later. But yeah, please let me know what you thought of the episode down below. I give it a 5 out of 5. What do you think? You know, uh, comment down below. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified of more videos like this. We do these every Sunday. Please remember to share the video so others can see what a great job we're doing reviewing and recapping Digimon. Angemon for you guys. As always, I thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Please remember to wear a mask, wash your hands, be good, be blessed, be good to yourself, and be good to others. Don't be a jerk, and I will definitely see you next time.